It was a bleak, dreary morning in the small town of Willow Creek. A heavy mist hung low over the winding streets, obscuring the quaint houses and shops that lined the hillside. Despite the gloomy weather, there was an air of excitement buzzing through the town, for today marked the beginning of the annual Emerald Fair. Every year, merchants and artisans from across the land would gather to showcase their wares and perform fantastical displays of magic. For the people of Willow Creek, the Emerald Fair was the highlight of the year, a chance to escape the monotony of their simple lives and bask in the wonders of the outside world. At the heart of all the festivities was the town square, a cobblestone plaza adorned with vibrant green banners that fluttered in the damp breeze. Stalls were being hastily erected, their owners shouting orders and organizing their goods in preparation for the day's events. The aroma of sizzling meats and spiced pastries wafted through the air, mingling with the earthy scent of rain-soaked stone. Among the hustle and bustle, a young woman named Arya weaved her way through the crowds, her emerald cloak billowing behind her like a trail of green smoke. She was the town's resident herbalist, renowned for her vast knowledge of plants and their magical properties. Her stall, tucked away in a quiet corner of the square, was already set up, displaying an array of jars filled with dried flowers, roots, and powders. Arya loved the Emerald Fair, not just for the excitement and merriment, but for the opportunity it presented to learn new things. She was a voracious student of the arcane arts, always seeking to expand her understanding of the hidden forces that governed the world around her. As she tended to her stall, her keen eyes scanned the assembling merchants, searching for anything out of the ordinary. That's when she noticed a peculiar figure lurking in the shadows. A tall, cloaked figure who seemed to radiate an aura of mystery and power. Intrigued, Arya made her way over to the stranger, her curiosity piqued. "Greetings, traveler," she said, offering a warm smile. "I don't believe I've seen you at our fair before." The figure turned, revealing a wizened face etched with lines of wisdom and experience. "Ah, yes, you are correct, young one," came the gravelly reply. "I am but a humble peddler of rare and unique wares." Arya's interest was immediately piqued. "Rare wares, you say? Pray tell, what manner of goods do you trade in?" The stranger's eyes twinkled with mischief. "I deal in the rarest and most precious of commodities, knowledge itself." With a flourish of his cloak, he revealed a small, leather-bound tome nestled in the folds of his garments. Arya gasped, her heart fluttering with excitement. "A book? But not just any book, I wager." "Indeed," the peddler nodded sagely. "This is no ordinary tome. Within its pages lie secrets and mysteries that have been lost to the ages, forgotten lore that could unlock the very fabric of reality itself." Arya felt a shiver run down her spine, her fingers twitching with the desire to hold the precious volume. What sort of secrets does it contain?" The peddler leaned in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Spells and incantations of unimaginable power. Rituals that can bend the laws of nature to one's will. Knowledge that could grant you mastery over the very elements themselves." Arya's breath caught in her throat. Such power seemed almost too much to comprehend. "And you would part with such a treasure? Surely its value is beyond reckoning." The peddler chuckled, a rasping sound that sent shivers down Arya's spine. "Value is in the eye of the beholder, my dear. To some, this tome may be priceless. To others, it is but a curiosity, a relic of a bygone era. But to one who truly appreciates its worth." He trailed off, leaving the unspoken question hanging in the air. Arya swallowed hard, her mind racing. This could be the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to unlock secrets that most could only dream of. But at what cost? She had heard tales of those who delved too deeply into forbidden knowledge, their minds shattered by the revelation of cosmic truths. Before she could respond, the peddler spoke again. "I sense your hesitation, child. Perhaps a demonstration is in order." He cracked open the tome, the pages rustling like leaves in an autumn breeze. With a hushed incantation, the peddler began to trace arcane symbols in the air, his fingers flickering with emerald flames. Arya watched, transfixed, as the mist around them seemed to coalesce into solid form, swirling and twisting into the shape of a magnificent dragon. The beast unfurled its wings, letting out a mighty roar that shook the very stones beneath their feet. Arya stumbled back, her heart pounding in her chest, as the dragon stretched its neck towards her, close enough for her to see the flickering embers in its jade-green eyes. Just as suddenly as it had appeared, the dragon dissipated, melting back into the mist from whence it came. Arya stood there, trembling, her mind struggling to process what she had just witnessed. The peddler closed the tome with a snap, his expression one of smug satisfaction. "A mere taste of the power contained within these pages," he said, his voice low and mesmerizing. Arya found her voice, though it wavered with a mix of awe and trepidation. That was incredible, but also terrifying. Such power, it could be used for great good or great evil. Precisely, the peddler nodded, which is why it must be wielded by one who is worthy, one who has the wisdom and strength of character to harness its potential responsibly. Arya hesitated, her mind torn. The thirst for knowledge burned within her, an insatiable hunger that had driven her studies from a young age. But she also knew the dangers of delving into realms best left unexplored. As if sensing her inner turmoil, the peddler spoke once more. "I can see the conflict within you, child. You need not decide this very moment. Ponder my offer, weigh the risks and rewards in your heart. When you have come to a resolution, seek me out again. I shall be here for the duration of the fair." With that, the peddler turned and melted back into the shadows, leaving Arya to grapple with the weight of the decision before her. The rest of the day passed in a blur, the sights and sounds of the Emerald Fair fading into the background as Arya's thoughts whirled. She went through the motions of tending to her stall, her mind only half present as she pondered the peddler's offer. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the now empty town square, Arya found herself wandering aimlessly, her feet carrying her down familiar paths without conscious thought. She found herself at the edge of the forest that bordered Willow Creek, the twisted boughs of ancient oaks reaching out like gnarled fingers beckoning her deeper into their embrace. It was here, in the quiet serenity of the woods, that Arya often came to clear her mind and seek solace in the embrace of nature. She felt a sense of peace wash over her as she meandered along the well-trodden path, the rich scent of loam and decaying leaves filling her nostrils. As she walked, her thoughts turned once more to the peddler's tome and the tantalizing promise of forbidden knowledge it held. She knew, deep in her heart, that such power was not to be trifled with. The forces it contained could just as easily corrupt as enlighten, twisting the minds of the weak-willed and leading them down a path of darkness. Yet, the allure of unlocking those secrets was undeniable. What wonders could be unlocked? What mysteries unraveled? If one had the strength of character to wield such power responsibly. The potential for discovery, for pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible, was almost dizzying to contemplate. Arya found herself at a small clearing, a tranquil glade where sunlight filtered through the canopy of leaves, dappling the mossy ground with patterns of light and shadow. It was here that she often came to meditate, to reconnect with the natural rhythms that governed all life. She settled herself upon a fallen log, crossing her legs and closing her eyes, letting the sounds of the forest wash over her. The gentle rustling of leaves, the distant call of birds, the steady thrum of life all around her. As she slipped into a state of deep focus, her mind seemed to expand, her awareness reaching out to encompass the very essence of the woods around her. She could feel the slow, steady pulse of the trees, their roots delving deep into the earth, drawing sustenance from the rich soil. She could sense the intricate web of life that connected all things, from the smallest mushroom to the mightiest oak, a vast tapestry woven together by unseen threads. And in that moment of profound connection, a realization blossomed within her. The true power, the true magic, lay not in the pursuit of arcane knowledge or the mastery of occult forces, but in the understanding and reverence of the natural world itself. The peddler's tome, for all its promised secrets, was but a pale reflection of the wonders that surrounded her, the intricate workings of a living, breathing universe that operated according to its own ineffable laws. With that epiphany came a sense of clarity, a certainty that she had been seeking answers in the wrong places. The path to true enlightenment did not lie in the manipulation of forces beyond her comprehension, but in the humble study and appreciation of the world as it was. As the last rays of the setting sun filtered through the trees, Arya opened her eyes, feeling a profound sense of peace and purpose. She knew what she had to do. Rising from her mossy seat, she made her way back to the town square, her steps light and purposeful. The peddler was there, as promised, his cloaked figure a stark silhouette against the flickering torchlight. He turned as she approached, a knowing smile playing across his weathered features. "Ah, I see you have come to a decision, my dear." Arya nodded, her expression serene. "Indeed I have, and I must decline your offer." The peddler's brow furrowed, surprise flickering across his face. "Truly? You would turn away from the opportunity to wield power beyond your wildest imaginings?" "I would," Arya replied, her voice steady and resolute, "for I have come to understand that true power lies not in the mastery of arcane forces, but in the reverence and understanding of the natural world around us." The peddler scoffed, shaking his head in disbelief. "Foolish child, you squander a chance that few ever receive, all for the sake of some misguided notion of harmony with nature." Arya met his gaze unflinchingly. "It is not misguided, but a profound truth that has eluded me until now. The secrets you offer, while tempting, are but a pale imitation of the true wonders that surround us. The living, breathing world is a far greater miracle than any occult tome could ever contain." The peddler opened his mouth to argue, but Arya held up a hand, silencing him. "I mean no disrespect, but my path is clear. I will continue my studies, not in the pursuit of arcane power, but in the humble exploration and appreciation of the natural world in all its complexity and beauty." For a long moment, the peddler regarded her silently, his expression inscrutable. Then, to Arya's surprise, he let out a deep, rumbling laugh that seemed to emanate from the depths of his very being. "Well played, child," he chuckled, his eyes twinkling with mirth. "Well played indeed. It seems you have learned a lesson that few ever truly grasp, a wisdom that transcends the pursuit of mere knowledge or power." Arya blinked, taken aback by his sudden shift in demeanor. "I do not understand." The peddler's smile took on a mysterious quality, as though he knew some grand secret that she could not yet fathom. "In time, perhaps, you will. For now, simply know that you have made the right choice, the choice that will lead you down a path of true enlightenment." With that enigmatic statement, the peddler turned and began to walk away, his form dissolving into the gathering shadows until he had vanished completely. Arya stood there, her mind whirling with questions and a newfound sense of purpose. She knew not what lay ahead, but she felt a certainty in her heart that she had chosen the right path, a path that would lead her to a deeper understanding of the world and her place within it. As she made her way back to her humble home, she could not help but feel a sense of gratitude towards the strange peddler, for it was through his offer that she had discovered her true calling. The forest, the very heart of nature itself, would be her teacher, her guide, and her sanctuary. And so, with a renewed sense of wonder and determination, Arya embarked on a journey of discovery, one that would take her to the farthest reaches of the natural world and unveil its deepest, most profound mysteries.